Okay, guys, so a few days ago, we made our second album for the rap battles we will be making this summer.
Yeah.
Today we will be comparing the albums based on 5 different factors, and at the end, we'll conclude which is better. Okay. So let's begin.
That's the most
Number
important thing.
Variety of matchups. Now, I feel like the second rap battle album had a better variety of matchups.
I know.
Because the first one had like 3 cartoon characters, 2 historical characters, like 3 video game characters. And then a character from DC. And then again...
And a director.
Yeah, well, the director kind of counts as a historical character. But in this one, we had... we had 3 historical characters.
Yeah.
We had multiple cartoon characters.
A video game character. Star Wars characters.
A Marvel character. And a Phineas and Ferb character, which technically counts as cartoon, so 2 cartoon characters.
Yeah.
So that would mean 2 cartoon characters, 3 historical characters, a video game character, and, of course, and some Star Wars characters.
Yeah, so...
The second rap album had a better variety.
Yeah.
Since the first one was only made up of cartoon, video game, and historical characters. Not much other than that.
Yeah. Number 2.
Writing. So, let's compare these rap battles based on their writing. So, first of all, we have the first one from the first album, which would be Scooby-Doo versus Courage the Cowardly Dog. This one had very good writing. I mean, it's one of our best rap battles we've written so far, and I feel like it's the second best rap battle we've written, aside from some other ones. But then, in second of our rap battle album, first rap battle album, is Minecraft vs. Fortnite, where the rating was not all that. The rating was pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been a bit better comparing Minecraft to Fortnite, and Minecraft vs. Fortnite was a bland matchup.
I didn't like it that much at all, really. I felt like Minecraft vs. Fortnite could have been so much better.
Minecraft vs. Fortnite. We might even be sequeling that in our next album, and it would probably get better writing.
Hopefully.
And third in the album, that would be Charlie Brown versus Charlie Chaplin. This one had pretty mediocre writing.
Yeah.
It was the second battle Tommy Boy written, and it really shows. Yeah.
It's Blake Strawber's second favorite rap battle.
Yeah, but it could have been a bit better. The writing was a bit bland.
Number 3 in the album too.
Number 4 in the album. Kaiser Wilhelm II versus the Scarecrow. Okay, this one had pretty mediocre writing. It was the first one I've written, so it's still
like I said, my problem with the historical battles is because I don't get it.
Yeah, well, it was my first rap battle, and I was very inexperienced, and anyway, The Spy versus James Bond. Probably the worst on the first album. The writing on it was very mediocre and was way too short. It felt like we just shoved this on the album. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not that good. So the rating on this, the average rating on this would be slightly above mediocre. Sub-average, I meant.
On the second album,
Well, we have Dr. Doofenshmirtz versus Doctor Strange. It had good writing.
yeah, number
Yeah,
2.
is... Oh, yeah. Number 2 is Julius Caesar versus Benito Mussolini. This one had pretty good writing. It could have been a bit better, but I like it. It's a lot better than my historical battle on the other album.
Number 3.
That would be the Flying Dutchman versus Slimer. What I think is the worst battle on the album, though it's a bit disagreeable. It had pretty good writing, and I mean, like, for 4 and 5, you know, okay, 4 was Han Solo versus the Imposter with pretty good writing, could have been a bit better. And then there's Lincoln Loud versus Abraham Lincoln, another one with very good writing.
Yeah.
So the average rating on this is good, ranges from good to great.
So, it also goes to the second album.
Yeah. So at the second album, so yeah. So 3 is, so the second rap battle album
Has
beats
2.
the first one in good in writing.
Okay, this is the one chance. The first album has a chance of getting a point.
Number 3 equals impressions. Now, the impressions on our first rap battle album range somewhere. Okay, let's just compare the rap battles individually. Okay, so Scooby-Doo versus Courage did not have all that good of an impression.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have swapped it up and it might have been a bit better, but like, yeah, it was not all that good.
Minecraft and Fortnite don't.
Okay, we didn't even try with impressions on there, so let's
Alright,
just
so
skip
number
that.
3.
Kaiser Wilhelm.
Amy
Oh,
Charlie Chaplin.
We did some work on the impressions there, but like, I mean, Tommy Boy did not sound all much like Charlie Chaplin.
Number 4.
No offense. Number 4 is Kaiser Wilhelm versus the Scarecrow. Look, I tried on this one, but the impressions were sub-average. They could have been a bit better if we took more takes. And the Spy versus James Bond, it had pretty good impressions.
Yeah, so, but I think
The second out rap battle album, Dr. Doofenshmirtz versus Doctor Strange. Tommy Boy had a very eccentric Doofenshmirtz impressions on that one. Like, yeah, Julius Caesar versus Benito Mussolini. I think I did a pretty good Mussolini impression, if you ask me, and like, Tommy didn't really try all that hard with the Julius Caesar impression, but like, he still did it.
number 3 had great impressions.
Yeah, number 3, it goes plus the Flying Dutchman versus Slimer. Okay, that one had pretty good impressions. They're basically the best thing about it. But like,
number 4,
that would be Han Solo versus the Imposter.
the Imposter doesn't talk.
We did a bit of work with the impressions, so it was mostly on my part with Han Solo and stuff. And number 5 was Lincoln Loud versus Abraham Lincoln. I do believe that Tommy Boy did a pretty decent Lincoln Loud impression, and I did a pretty decent Abe Lincoln impression. But they
So, the second album still gets
a point. Number 4 is soundtrack. So, yeah. So, anyway, let's rank them all individually. Okay, Scooby-Doo versus Courage the Cowardly Dog had a pretty good
Yeah, that was a great soundtrack.
Yeah, it actually kind of fit. But unlike Minecraft versus Fortnite soundtrack, which really did not fit. Like, I was continually trying to keep up with it.
Number 3.
Number 3 of the soundtracks is Charlie Brown versus Charlie Chaplin. The soundtrack worked.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, we could have found a better one if we tried a bit harder. But anyway,
The fourth one,
it did not really work all that well. Yeah, I mean, like, we could have found a better one.
number 5.
Okay, this one was actually a pretty good soundtrack. The Spy versus James Bond. And I like a James Bond sort of soundtrack. So, like, the average soundtrack quality is, like, somewhere between average and sub-average. I don't know where.
But
the other one, Dr. Doofenshmirtz versus Doctor Strange, we could have found a better soundtrack for this one.
But it worked pretty good.
Yeah, it worked pretty good.
Number 2.
2, Julius Caesar versus Benito Mussolini. We actually found a pretty good soundtrack for this one.
Number 3.
3, Ghostbusters, The Flying Dutchman versus Slimer. The soundtrack worked well enough for this one. And 4, Han Solo versus the Imposter. The soundtrack actually worked pretty well for this one.
Number 5.
That would indeed be Lincoln Loud versus Abraham Lincoln, where the soundtrack was actually surprisingly good for the matchup.
But
So anyway.
still, soundtrack goes to the second album.
Yep. And number 5 is Flow. Okay, for Scooby-Doo versus Courage the Cowardly Dog, we actually did get a pretty good flow on this one. Like, yeah, especially with the beat. Minecraft vs. Fortnite had a kind of average to sub-average flow, where you're continually trying to keep up with the beat. Yeah. And
Number 3.
That would be Charlie Chaplin vs. Charlie Brown,
The best thing.
its flow was sub-average to average on some occasions.
Number 4.
Number 4, Kaiser Wilhelm versus Scarecrow. We didn't really flow all that hard with this one.
Yeah.
And 5, Spy versus James Bond, where we actively said it slower. Like, we did not really flow that one.
Number 1.
So, like, number 1 in flow, Dr. Doofenshmirtz versus Doctor Strange. It actually had a pretty decent flow at some times. I do give credit to Tommy Boy. He had the better flow on that one, but, like, yeah. Number 2, Benito Mussolini versus Julius Caesar. The first part's really flowed, though it kind of lost it a bit in the second part.
Number 3.
Number 3 would be Ghostbusters, The Flying Dutchman versus Slimer. And, like, that one had a pretty decent flow.
Yeah.
It could have been a bit faster.
Yeah.
But, like, number 4, Han Solo versus the Imposter. This one actually had a pretty decent flow.
Yeah, great one.
That's the best thing about it.
Number 5.
Like, Lincoln Loud versus Abraham Lincoln. Once again, having the better flow. Like, yeah. And, so, basically, the summer album gets another point on this. So the quick conclusion to this one is that the summer album is better.
Knocked it out of the park.
Knocked it out of the park. But then again, our first album was like, it was made like 1 or 2 months ago, and we weren't really all that experienced.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, this one's a bit better. So like, anyway,
way better.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And peace out.